So, Michael and William, feel free to hop in whenever you are, and I'll stop the music.
Hopping in, baby. Let's do it. I mean, it's great music. I thought we were almost at a game show.
Let's
Maybe
go.
like
I honestly really love that music. I'm not gonna lie. Like I felt like I was in a Winn-Dixie kind of shopping, and
All right,
it
you know
just
what?
felt
Listen.
great.
honestly.
Once Charlie leaves the room, we can be serious about this. We can tell the truth about what we thought about that music.
Yeah, I mean that was like shopping in a Winn Dixie in the game Sims. So yeah, or updated version of The Price is Right. Come on down as we get new speakers here. You've been selected to be a speaker here. Welcome to DePINs. What's happening now? Hey, before we get going here, make sure to share the space. I'm excited to talk to Ben specifically around Hive Mapper in a little bit. But well, hey, Wolf, let us know. Is there anything we need to share with the audience and put in before we get going here?
No, man. I think just have a great space. That's probably it. Like, thank you for everyone who's in here. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with us in a DePIN space, baby. So really appreciate everyone who's here.
All right, dope. And that actually is kind of funny you say that. You could be anywhere in the world. And in fact, this is the one time or anytime you're in a space where you can actually be in multiple places at once, right? You're in a physical place, digital space. We go through that pleasantries. Look, the reality is this is our final DePIN space. We're talking about what's happening now. We're running it one last time at this time slot on this day, Wednesday, and really excited to talk a little bit more about some projects. So if you want to talk any projects, we can. Let's start by saying what's up, William. How are you doing today?
Oh, dude, I'm doing excellent, man. I got a lot of work done today. Just lots of stuff happening in the market. Just lots of things to talk about and research. So it's just it's been a fantastic day. Unfortunately, my fiance is sick, so I'm also having to take care of her. And it's been a bit of a struggle, but it's mostly just getting calls of Will, I want hot coffee or hot chocolate. Bring me hot chocolate, and I say okay, and I come and bring her hot chocolate. That's pretty much my duties for the day.
All right, man. Well, Will, I just want you to know I want some hot chocolate too, so you can get that delivered. I'll send you my address in the DMs, and I'll be waiting. We're
You
gonna.
got it.
I appreciate you. You're such a good fiance. Here's the deal. We are going to talk about Hive Mapper, one of the most uh, kind of public and legitimate DePIN projects in the world right now. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. We've got my friend Ben here. I want to hear a little bit more about the story into Hive Mapper, and then we can all join in. But before we get there, let's welcome our other speakers who are here, starting with Jax. Jax, what's going on today? All right, Jax is going to look for hot coffee.
Great response.
Yeah, no, good stuff. Let's go to Fidgetal. Fidgetal, what's going on today?
Chilling. It's funny. Shut up. Not you. Sorry. Other phone. Um, he's making a beat for me, and he's singing a stupid beat. And
No, I
it's
actually liked
inappropriate.
that. Like, I like
Thank you.
that. I liked you being just very like, shut up, like with all that aggression. It's like it's kind of what we need to wake the space up a bit.
There we go. I had an RWA space this morning with my Moby Media partner, so it's with Scott, who I think it's supposed to be. So it's been RWA day. So looking forward to it. Let's have fun. Thanks for the invite.
All right, cool. I mean, look, this is kind of like crank anchors now, where Fidgetal just comes in and tells us to shut up, but I'm here for it. Let's give Jax one more time. Jax, what's up today?
Yeah, sorry about that. I have a new setup, so hopefully my voice sounds quite sexy with this.
Oh my god,
microphone.
it does.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, what?
I'm down in Colombia. Just shoot me a note if you want to come through. But here we're talking about DePIN. Sorry to drop off. I have a very weird internet setup where I have an Ethernet that comes into my room that I hotspot off my computer. So pray for us.
All right, we're going to pray for you. And with that voice, I think that you can have hot chocolate delivered just by saying it and speaking it into existence. With that being said, let's dive right in. Let's do an open kind of conversation here, but let's start. What's up, Ben? It's good to talk to you again, my friend, for a while. You are now at Hive Mapper, and instead of me sort of introing and doing more, why don't you tell us what's going on in your world and what is the connection with Hive Mapper, my man?
Yeah, excited to do this space. Honestly, the first space I'm doing since joining the Hive Mapper team. I'm actually in my apartment right now because we were moving the rest of my stuff in. I had to relocate from Austin to the San Francisco base so that I can make some impact on the ground here. So it's been a lot of fun, really, really interesting. I think DePIN is something that really resonates with me in terms of real use cases for blockchain, especially for projects that have demand from the customer's end for data purchasing, which HiveMapper has already kind of proven that. And yeah, I even got to map my journey. So I drove from Austin, Texas, all the way to San Francisco. I had my HiveMapper dash cam set up, and I ended up doing the whole drive. So that was quite the experience.
Yeah, you posted about that, and I was actually interested. I wanna hear a little bit more about that. But first, why don't you tell
Sure.
us exactly what your role is at Hive Mapper and maybe some of your experience before getting there, so we can have a better idea of what kind of hands Hive Mapper is in from a communication standpoint.
Yeah, so I'm the new communications lead, primarily going to focus on some of the blockchain messaging. And my experience in this field kind of dates back to 2017, 2018. Was an early supporter of a lot of different protocols. Uh, I ran an agency for 5 years that focused on public relations and marketing. Had clients like Binance, Solana. I was Solana's first PR hire out the gate. Helped with their Series A announcement. Worked on, I don't know, tons of exchanges, protocols, you name it. But like I've been doing this for quite a while, so uh, it's it took a lot to pull me in house and kind of step outside of my comfort zone of like going from an entrepreneur to servicing somebody else's vision. But this team has been amazing. It's such a home right now. And what's really exciting is I come in now and every day when Ariel is there, like we're just coming up with new stuff and the energy is like really high. So that's great.
Pretty extensive background. Obviously, I know it a little bit more deeply, but I think it's important if anyone listens to this either right now live or in the recording, they have a better sense of kind of who is running the comms at Hive
Sure.
Mapper going forward. So look, really awesome. And I posted a little bit to the jumbotron above, just your background and the announcement from Hive Mapper. And so, why don't you dive into? And then I want to open it up to William. I mean, Fidgetal, Jax, you guys can join the conversation. But why don't you just give us a little bit of like the idea? So you drive from Austin to San Francisco. Obviously, Hive
Right.
Mapper
Right.
all about mapping and stuff. What is that journey like? What was the takeaways? And share some stuff because I'm sure some of us, myself included, are thinking like, I want to drive road trips and how Hive Mapper can play into that.
Right. So let me explain a little bit how the system works, and then I can give some feedback on what it was like to set up my mapper for the first time and things that we're looking forward to with the latest updates. So we have a new dash cam coming out called the B. It's going to be a few months until we've got it full production line, but we're actively innovating and coming up with better ways to do this. But the primary concept is that map data is not as fresh as it could be. And as we approach a level of the modern world where data is becoming paramount, it's important to have eyes on the road in a different way than we've ever experienced before. So a lot of people are probably in a bit of shock and awe by all the driverless cars and even some of the pseudo autonomous driving capabilities that we're seeing now in the automotive industry, and that's not possible unless AI and data infrastructure and road intelligence can combine in such a way to make things safer, easier, better. Likewise, there's we benefit from being here in the United States and having some of the biggest map companies in the world taking the time to give us things like street view imagery. That's not necessarily the case everywhere else in the world. And as we try to modernize the globe, having the ability to get street level imagery in places where people haven't been before gives us the ability to create mapping, which creates efficiency, which creates logistics with shipping companies and all these other things that is a snowball effect. So we decided, okay, you're looking at somebody like Google that's got to put mapping cars on the road, they might only map a certain road once every 3 years. For some of the more rural areas, maybe even once every 5. That's not real time. That's not even close to real time. And it costs about $500,000 just to get one of those cars with all the expensive cameras and everything on there. So Ariel took it upon himself to say, let's build some purpose-built hardware. And he came from Yahoo Maps, among other projects that he's worked on successfully in the past, and understands this business and said, well, we can do this at scale if we create an incentive structure through decentralization and blockchain to have people drive and put these dash cams on their cars, and then they're passively mapping as they're going. And everybody's got, well, not everybody, but a good chunk of the population have cars on the road, and most of those people are driving daily. So for them, it's a very innocuous task. But the upside is that this data intelligence can then get purchased by other map data providers, and then they have this source of truth that's needed across the board for all those different functions I was talking about. So when I heard about this, and shout out to JR and the Multicoin team, kind of brought me in since they knew me from the Solana launch, and were like, these guys really need a good communications guy. This was one of the most impressive cases because it was so easy. I could go in and explain it to my parents. I was like, you drive, and while you're driving, you're collecting street imagery, and then you're receiving rewards in the token. And that token is honey and is tradable on Coinbase. And they're making all these great updates, but the big play now is also, like, the AI inputs, better stereo cameras, things like that are going to give better roadside intelligence. But I'll pause there.
Yeah, there was a mouthful. There's a lot there. I liked it though. I mean, I like the mostly the thing I like the most is the fact that you could explain it to your parents and the way you described it, right? I mean, and that's the part where for me I've always consistently thought that there has to be this easier way to connect with people using real, real terms, real basic ideas that don't, that just make sense. And that's why I've been so fascinated and excited about DPIN and the space itself, truly because of the innovation. So it makes a lot of sense. Hey, William, any thoughts on Hive Mapper? Obviously, we've talked about Hive Mapper. Anything you wanted to add to the conversation?
Yeah, no, dude. Like, obviously, I'm a huge Hive Mapper fan. I'm actually waiting for my B to get in when it is released. So I did pre-order, and I'm pretty stoked. The only other mapping protocol I'm actually participating in right now is Nadix to kind of get an idea of what I'll be doing when I do Hive Mapper. That's one that uses your smartphone, and essentially, I'm really enjoying it because of just like just like your friend here said, how passive it really is, just because people with cars, they drive places. And so, like, the fact I can just turn this app on, or in the future, obviously, when I get my camera, like, just plug my camera in, leave it in there, and then just like go like to my regular, like, everyday routine, and get and provide to the network and get paid for that. It's pretty spectacular. And honestly, it has incentivized me to do more road trips as well. Like, my grandmother lives, 2.5 hours away. And I'm just like, oh, well, if I go see her more often, like, I can farm more points on Nadix and eventually Hive Mapper. And I'm just like, okay, cool. I'll definitely do this. So it's kind of neat in that sense. Like, it kind of incentivizes you to, like, actually go out more and, like, do more, which is fantastic in my opinion. Um, that being said, I'm trying to think of where, man, what was my point? I totally forgot where my point was going with that. But I guess, oh yeah, sorry, we were talking about explaining to, like, the normies, I guess, if you want to call them, or our Web2 friends, like, how all this stuff works. And then the way I've been explaining it to my friends, and they've actually kind of been listening now, because before they used to think I was just some crypto freak, and now I'm just like, hey, listen, like, that data that Google and Apple are stealing from you constantly and selling to advertisers. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, what if you could, like, sell some of that data yourself and, make some money on it? And they're like, oh, man, that sounds actually kind of really interesting. I'm like, yeah, there's lots of different types of data, though. Like, it's not just like, like noise data, there's mapping data too. And then I bring up like Hive Mapper and Nadix and whatnot. And they start actually listening and they say, huh, that makes sense. So like I could like basically help provide to things like Google Maps. And I say, and I just basically tell them like, yeah, in a sense, it's kind of like that. Like imagine you're helping build Google Maps with your data and you're getting paid for it. And they say, oh my God, that makes sense. This is incredible. So I think explaining it to people like that gets them more on board. And like, especially when you don't mention the word like blockchain or, anything like that. Like you don't have to mention that stuff. You just say, hey, listen, like you'll get paid, sell your data. Cool.
Yeah, nice follow on.
Well, the SEC is not going to let us say sell your data and get paid.
Not
Hey,
yet. Not yet. Until regulations, right? Not yet.
you know
So it's you passively map and you get rewarded. That's
Yeah,
that was
rewarded, quote,
yeah,
rewarded.
that was really concise there, Ben. I like how you could do that in a concise manner, very quickly to describe what you guys are doing. I think that's important. A lot of times I see in the space when it comes to crypto is everyone tries to use lots of terminology that makes no sense, confuses and distracts. I just like to say, since this is our last deep in space, let's stop trying to call people normies or degens. That's not really effective communication tactics.
Oh, of
Longer
course
term.
not. Of course, I say it in this space because I know I'm around not normie people, but I don't call my fiance a
Yeah.
normie to her face. Like that
What?
that would be terrible.
what do you mean I'm not
No,
normal?
to the fiance, it's
I
just
I would argue we're the most normal here, but that's just my argument.
yeah. So I got a question. Thinking deeper on what you guys were both talking about, William. You added a little bit there onto kind of what Ben was mentioning with Hive Mapper, kind of how you explain it. Fine. What about Hive Mapper and Ben? Your thoughts on the other parts of the DePIN, industry? Obviously, there's a lot going on. I think automotive is very fascinating, especially to me as someone that's been associated with the real world automotive industry for a decade plus. Obviously there's so much real world use case and it's such a massive opportunity. So how does Hive Mapper maybe look at, let's say, what William mentioned, he uses Nadix, and what do you think about Demo, who we talked to last week? What's the kind of connection there when you go across the board with some of these other deep in projects from a Hive Mapper standpoint?
Yeah, there's definitely a convergence on what does efficiency look like. And when we get back to the ethos of blockchain, it's about disintermediation, where people live in between the data, act as brokers and take good chunks of it out, and you lose the upside benefit of being a direct trusted party. And so this is one of the functional use cases of blockchain and DePIN that makes a lot of sense. I think being honest with ourselves about what we're capable of achieving with the technology at the place that it is right now, that's something where I see a lot of DePIN projects probably going very, very loud and using a lot of hype to generate attention on, let's say, the crypto side of the business. But there needs to be a place for you to live in the practical world where businesses are coming and interfacing with this data stream, where people actually see value in the sourced information, not just value in the speculative underlying asset that everyone's going to trade based on attention mechanics. And so I think a lot of projects are trying to tackle this right now. I think there's something a bit comical about why less people are talking about DePIN and more people are talking about meme coins is it is also perceived as potentially capped. And so CoinDesk and Blockworks and some other publications have done some really amazing deep dives on this stuff where we're looking at it through the lens of what is the potential upside, and that's a large swath of the population. And when they look at something like a meme coin, because it's nothing, it has no cap. But when you look at the mapping industry, it's quite large, but there is in people's minds a prohibitive cap saying, okay, Google makes about $11 billion a year off their mapping products, maybe closer to 20 now, if you look at the scale and the growth. That is a huge market to tackle, but it's and there's only a handful of mapping companies in the world that are really kind of taking on that task. So I think we can easily step in and disrupt that. But there are other things right now we see, like, decentralized processing, and you have like Helium doing like mobile devices and things. So there's the side that is functionally, is it usable in the real world, and will it sustain that value in the real world, and then the other side being token mechanics. So if the supply gets inflated, if the attention economy crashes completely, then it sometimes is really hard to recover. And likewise, if you lean too much into the jargony crypto stuff, you lose the attention of some of the businesses that really don't want to have to understand that and just want to get the value out.
No, this is
Let me.
making me think we should have like a dog themed DPIN now. Like we need like a meme coin like DPIN esque like
I think
project to really drive
Yeah,
attention.
yeah. Combine them both. Yeah.
let's take a moment here to welcome Crab. Crab has had his hand up. I know Crab pretty well here. Crab, it's nice to see you again. I see you got a question.
Yeah, I just want to say I guess I walked into the room at the right time because I have Hive mappers on. I have my hand in a lot of pots, right? Most of my stuff is real estate, land development, but we also do some contract work through like Amazon. So I put these Hive mappers on. You can have two per vehicle, right? So on three of our trucks, we have them. It's amazing, dude. Like it offsets some fuel costs and things like that. But not only that, it helps onboard a lot of people who aren't familiar or native to crypto. And I think that's probably like the most valuable thing to have as a person that's not like technological. I'm more of like a number two pencil and paper type dude, and I have a lot of friends that drive with like Uber and Lyft, and I put them all onto this Hive mapper, and so even to the point to where it's like a 6 month back order. But if you go on what is it, eBay, you'll probably pay a premium, right? Like $900 or so, but you get it like immediately, and it'll pay for itself way before the 6 months is you know until your order comes in. So I think it's pretty cool that I'm in the room and you guys are talking about this. I put it on one of my cars too. My brother breeds French and English bulldogs and chocolate Persian cats, so they do a lot of like drop probably like 3,000 miles or more a week, a little less, a little more sometimes. This stuff's been like amazing for people that do stuff like that to earn like what they would consider like a passive income, right? For doing the same thing that they're doing anyway, but really bringing the attention to crypto and stuff like that. And it gets these people asking more questions. And I think that in itself is like totally, you can't replicate that. That's like lightning in a bottle. So kudos to you guys.
Dude, that was like a 30. If you could take those 30 seconds, Ben, after this and clip that was like a 30-second ad spot right there from Crab. You love to hear that. And it's funny because you mentioned Uber, Lyft. Obviously, those drivers can benefit a lot. And then you think about the truck drivers, and man, the opportunity is wild. Let's get Jax a chance to pipe in with his hand up, and then we'll go around Jax.
Perfect. Yeah, I appreciate you guys letting me chat. So it's been a while since I worked in the mapping space. So this is more a question for Hive Mapper. So if we look at the main mapping products like Mapbox, Google Maps, like Foursquare sells location data or Safegraph. Is the whole goal of Hive Mapper just to decentralize the aggregation of viewing these maps and like getting points of interest, and then to reward users for that? Because historically, let's say you were to do that for Google Maps, they were never going to pay you. Is that essentially the way this is working?
I think at the initial, yes. I would say, without going too far into it, we definitely have other things that we see as high value areas for us to take the technology. But the most obvious use case for it is disrupting the road intelligence industry, and that's also why hardware. So I know some people are taking the mobile approach, There has been those attempts in the past, but the fidelity of the data is inconsistent. I mean, it's even inconsistent when you provide your own hardware, but when people are using different lenses, when people have different mount setups, when there's different clarity, and the technology doesn't have certain stereo functions to represent distance between an object and the lens, it creates difficulties that makes some of the idea of doing this untenable at scale if you want to disrupt something like Google. So short answer is yes, um, but there's a lot more to it, and I think it's quite a large business sector to conquer. And I think like Foursquare and things like that, when you start thinking about how data is being used for things like promoting restaurants and uh, other concepts like that, that's a big part of it as well. The AI self-driving cars is another sector that this plays into.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I would say mostly because I live in Colombia and I see the problems with mappings here. Like, I don't know how much you guys actually use plus codes in the States or wherever everyone's based, but yeah, these like mapping products are super important here, where you might not even have a real address, or you might just have like literally a 3D outlay of where you're going. So very much support the work, and hopefully you can get some partnerships with things like Rappi or Uber in order to place those on cars and improve that.
Well, dude, and Ben, let me go. I keep thinking of like the triangle partnership, which is like Hive Mapper, Demo, and Helium. And it's like, Helium's got your internet, Demo's got your car, and Hive Mapper's got your mapping of the car. It's like that triangle of partnership is something I was thinking about. But yeah, Ben.
Oh no, I also wanted to mention something because it came up and then it was a very unusual conversation, but it's probably going to be more had, was the ability for people to come in and spoof data or have it filtered truths. So we love the term oracles in crypto, right? An oracle of truth, and maps. The best kind of maps are honest oracles of truth. But when you have material censorship, and we have to be able to use privacy zones and things like that. But there's also like the willful manipulation of information and putting things like a fake accident on a road, or like reporting something that's not there, that can really cause problems for centralized companies, where if you have several vehicles attesting to the data confidence of a road on any given basis, that's also going to clear a lot of that up. But we were kind of talking about like, if you pull like Google Street Views, if you can see like weird stuff happening in the background, but like somebody had created a fake Pentagon getting bombed, like street view image. And obviously, it was fake, but we were like, what would the ramifications be of like creating fake apocalyptic level events on roadways, just to mess with the system?
Yeah, that's definitely something that's interesting. All right, so we're halfway through here. DPins, what is happening now with Hive Mapper specifically, but definitely open to offering conversation around any other DPin news or information, if there is any. Ben, how long have you been? I mean, obviously you talked about your journey with Hive Mapper. But separate of maybe your specific, experience with Hive Mapper, were you using any DPIN specifically? Any other projects you were focused on, let's say over the last year or so? Because I know, that DPIN has sort of kind of been something that, at least if you're paying attention to over the last year or so, has been a place where like a sandbox you could play in.
Yeah, I think deepen is a new word for an old thing. The first concept of deepen would probably be more closely related to the vision of Ethereum, where they called it a world computer. Obviously, I don't think we've achieved that level of decentralized internet yet, but the idea that server farms, data infrastructure, logistics for companies and stuff are these fragmented silos that have to do all this intermediary attestation to the validity of their function. Like that has been a long standing problem that blockchain has been trying to solve. I think DePIN kind of came into frame, and I don't even know when the term came up, because we started seeing practical hardware, and people using stuff, not just putting really cool white papers together. And so some of the DePIN projects we know that are successful today, are older than the term DePIN. Uh, but I've started calling it this, and I need to ask Michael Casey if I can use it. But the truth machine, they're truth machines. That's what DePIN is about. Can you create a machine that creates a system of truth without having to have somebody sit in between the data? And right now, that's really cool. I think one of the earliest projects, like Golem, was trying to build the smart computer. I think now you have other companies. I think IONET, Render, other people in the Solana DePIN space that are trying to do things like, how do you decentralize the internet? How do you decentralize electricity? Or like, how do we get to the granular impact of something that we've probably bulk sold to people with real lack of understanding of how to like sub-partition that data out, because we didn't have the technology, and now we do. Decentralized phones. Who's got a decentralized phone? I don't have it yet, but I think the concept is really
I got
interesting.
the Helium Mobile, bro. I'm subscribed right now. It's great.
Yeah, I'm sure the network's pretty powerful.
Yo, I
Like,
always describe Helium Mobile as like you basically have T-Mobile Plus, because if you have Helium Mobile and you lose your Helium service, it goes to T-Mobile. So it's just basically T-Mobile Plus, which is the interesting uh, part of that I'm not sure I ever see promoted or anyone even like talks about. But it's like, yeah. Anyways, that's interesting. I don't know. William, any more thoughts here, specifically, I guess, around Hive Mapper or anything in that we've kind of touched on, or should we, see if there's anything else to go around the horn on?
No, sure. I mean, I guess my thing when it comes to DPINs is, obviously all this data is being collected and whatnot. I do have concerns around like data storage. This is something I talked to Quill about. Remember, we had a Quill on the space like weeks ago. I forgot exactly when, but it was probably like a month ago actually. And they were a decentralized like storage service essentially. And it's interesting because like all of your data collection from these decentralized devices, like yes, like it matters obviously in the aggregate. You need to collect all these different data points and whatnot, but there are security risks and liability risks that arise when you have centralized servers at play where all this data is being collected to. So I guess my if you know anything about this, Ben, how is the Hive Mapper data like not collected? Obviously, we know it's collected, but how is it stored? Is it centrally stored, or is it decentrally stored, or just any kind of comment on that would be great.
I don't want to speak out of turn, so I'm not 100% positive, but I think what you're mentioning is like a known issue. Like, in knowing the team, it's not, if that's the way it was, it's not like, you don't want to set yourself up to have like areas of vulnerability. And I think if you're drinking the blockchain Kool-Aid, you're also looking at projects like Filecoin and things like that are creating systems to decentralize that stored information. I'll get back to you on it. I'm sure it's on the website somewhere too. That's not actually an area I've delved
And you're
into
and you're
too much.
completely fine on that. I'm just curious as always because it's not going to deter me from
Yeah.
using Hive Mapper by any means or promoting it. But
No.
I do wonder, just for curiosity's sake, as well as when I do promote projects like on my feed, I like to know as much as possible about them before I do so, because I don't want someone, getting into something and they're like,
Right.
"Oh my god, I got scammed." Like, for instance, I love the idea of IONET, like I love the team and everything, but then they just went through that terrible hack recently. That crazy, 2
Yeah.
million GPUs got faked, and it's just like this kind of like insane like thing that happened, and now it's set them back a little bit. So it's such
Right.
a tough call in the space nowadays, especially when you have incidents like that.
Yeah, was it Martin Shkreli or whatever his name was like going in on them, but while at the same time kind of promoting his upcoming thing.
That sounds like
It,
Martin. That
it
that, that sounds like Martin Shkreli.
1,000%, and I'm it's you hate to see it, the mudslinging stuff like that, and I think you just need to be open and honest. A lot of people are in the thread for Hive Mapper on a daily basis, asking, where's my dash cam, where's my dash cam, and understanding that we're taking time, we're sourcing everything locally, we're not trying to like ship it out to cheap manufacturers that are going to create something that cracks, and that, yeah, it might be like a 3 to 6 month waiting period, and I'm coming in and I'm like, maybe dates were given that like they fell short on meeting and stuff, but they're also creating a system for people like to get their money back if that's what they're choosing to do. And it's funny because I do see a lot of people that are just, I've been waiting 3 4 months, and I'm like, I would wait a year for this. It's like, if you just need a dash cam, I think there are other options you can go out and get, but it's really about getting a mapping device. And a lot of people, especially when you're jumping into some of these decentralized projects, you have to appreciate that you're a part of something that's rather experimental and early, and you are getting rewarded for it. And you may have to wait in line for a bit, but that's a part of the privilege of participating in the future. We want to get better, we want to get faster, we want to get things out, but I also like think, I don't know the full story there, but you don't want to deceive either, and let people know like there's more capabilities or functionality or things than what are materially possible. And we need to create like stronger communication lines between what's like probable, possible, and immediately available.
No, I completely agree, and like
And
I'd rather. Yeah,
DPin's not good
exactly.
at
Yeah,
that.
I know. Trust me, I know. I would rather projects like Hive Mapper take their time. Like I actually like to see that. Like I like to see like patience, because I want to know that something is as secure and efficient as possible, rather than just like with go with the go fast and break things idea, because then you have crazy data breaches and just like stuff doesn't work and the quality's not good and yada yada yada. So I'm actually, when I heard I had to wait 4 months for my Hive Mapper device, I was like, okay, that's fine. Like I can wait. Like it's like I'm not in a hurry at all. But I mean, like obviously I want it today, but like it's if I have to wait longer for it to be better, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's just, it's all about how the perspective, and so we try to reiterate with people that, this is supposed to be passive. It's participating early in the community. It's, we're scaling production, but I also see the cameras going out daily as they're trying to work through the backlog, and God bless them. That team is trying to create through the supply. I think we got slammed. We got like 30,000 orders in December, which is just crazy. And now we have the B coming out, and so that's going to, like, the B stuff, I think, is probably not going to hit until Q1 next year.
No, that's really fascinating. I mean, like I've always told, like especially when I talk to my fiance about this stuff, she's not really deep into blockchain or crypto. Like she owns a little bit of crypto thanks to me, but she's not like super deep into it. So I like to test out the way I talk to things, to how the way I talk about those things to like my friends who aren't in crypto on her, and so she's not she's unlucky in that role. But I was talking to her about like the future of these like automobile DPINs, and I'm just like, I can totally see a future where everyone's like, not everyone, but the majority of people have like Hive Mapper cameras in their car, Nadix going on their phone, and like demo devices plugged in constantly. just because it's like, okay, like these things are extremely passive. Like, why wouldn't I just plug them into my car if I know I'm going to get rewarded for
Or
it?
if they cough became embedded.
That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking one day, like I could foresee like a partnership or like some kind of deal being made where like a Hive Mapper B is built into like a Tesla or something, and like that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, because it's just we it's like adding GPS. Like we remember Garmin where you had to
Oh my
stick that thing
god,
on your
yes,
windshield
dude.
until finally like we had the central console dash GPS. But uh, way back when, and there's really interesting like not to nerd out on this, but if you really want a nerdy uh string to pull on. Look at like the invention of GPS in the 1980s and how they had to do GPS. It's wild. They had cassettes. They were using like cassettes with like wheel telemetry and stuff like that. I don't know.
No,
It's weird.
that's pretty crazy, and like to see where GPS is, like how far it's come, as well as like how far away it is from being perfect. Like me personally, I'm just going to bring up this project, GeoDnet. I've been looking into. That's GeoDnet. They are like an RTK DPIN, and what that means is they're basically trying to improve GPS accuracy. And I didn't realize how like inaccurate GPS actually is. I was like, oh my god, it's like, it's accurate to a point, but it's like it could be 100 meters off at some points. And I was thinking to myself, like, huh, I could see Teslas like driving themselves needing this technology, or farm equipment needing this technology because they need to be like centimeters, accurate, like within a couple centimeters, accuracy, as compared to hundreds of meters. And so I didn't realize, like, again, like just how important technologies like, Hive Mapper or GeoNet could, like, should be, or, will be for the industry in the future, going forward. And just like how not only lucrative, but just, important it is for those infrastructures to have all of this data, help improving these like just essential technologies.
Yeah, and I mean, there's an AI component there too. It's like as we're collecting the imagery, street imagery, we're able to use that imagery to train AI to better recognize things. And so that's a long form process. A lot of people like look at the AI we have today and they're like, oh, that came up overnight. And those are like 5-year training arcs of making these things as masterful as they are and continuing to have that refinement. And so especially if we're going down this path of like an automated driving future, which is crazy to me. But like, in 20 years, it may be one of those things where like almost nobody ever touches the steering wheel, and like it's hard for somebody like myself who has a lot of anxiety to relinquish that wheel, even knowing that the car is probably better at driving itself than I am at driving it. Um, and we're not going to get to that place of comfort until the data is near perfect, and that's going to be the battle here in the future. It's like we talk a lot about AI at a surface level of like NVIDIA, but in automotive AI, we have a lot to conquer.
Yeah, I want to be able to just like hop in my car and have it take me anywhere and me not think about it. Like I would love to just be able to take a nap and, drive to Miami whenever I want to.
The Neuralink will like read your mind on what you want to have for food and then drop you off.
Dude,
That's
that'd be great.
that's
Honestly, that'd be
Elon's
fantastic.
crazy
I
vision.
saw that Neuralink
Yeah.
video and I freaked out. I was like, "Oh my god, it's here. Like we're closer than I thought."
Rippy, are you going to surgically install the node from from Elon into your brain? Tell the people what they want to
Well, I
know.
was just I was just trying to transmit it right now in my brain to see if I could respond to that, but it's not there yet. The Neuralink has not been inserted. It's not there. The transmission hasn't taken place yet. It's funny. I was just last weekend camping, and I was with someone. We specifically got to talking about Neuralink, and they're on the list. They're interested in it. It's fascinating to think about. I will not be doing that, at least not anytime soon. I don't believe anytime in the future. So not just soon, but long dated. But yeah, no, that's not.
Let's ask Digital and Jax if they're gonna get Neuralinks. Digital, are you gonna get a Neuralink installed? Oh my god, no. He's getting it installed right
We've
now. He's getting it installed right now. He's gone. Oh no, he left.
That's one way to someone out. Jax, are you getting Neuralink?
Yeah, that's going to be a big no for me. Having worked at Google, BlackRock, and all these other big companies, maybe Elon is. We know he's more based, but you never know about the employees. I don't want to get shut off.
Yeah, what if they shut down like your blue check mark via your Neuralink, and I'm saying blue check mark in the sense of like your life or your mind. They just like
My
shut your
bank
brain
account.
down. Like you're not verified. Like your brain's not verified, so they just shut you down.
Yeah, wrong speak for sure. I don't know. I would definitely not do it. It would have to. You'd have to really trust the people, because the underpinning code of that could quite easily be. I mean, we even see it with the AI models. So I used to work on AI models, and we just see how much like the training data and that kind of stuff can be played with and can really affect the underlying results. So I'm probably going to be one of the last people to put the chips in.
No, I completely agree, man. And like that's the thing is, keyword being trust there. And that's why we have things like blockchain tech in a sense. And I don't want to sound cliche when I say that, but like trying to make these systems as trustless as possible is a very difficult task, but I think is a necessary one, just because like handing the keys of Neuralink over to just one company, that's a lot of power, man. That is a lot of power in the hands of just one industry. And I it freaks me out. But we have Fidgetal back up here. Fidgetal, are you going to get a Neuralink installed or no?
For what?
For
For what? Great
I
Based.
love
answer.
that answer.
For everything.
I already. No, I was gonna make some stupid joke about I'm already perfect, but like, no, seriously, for what?
I just to have it, man. Just to, I don't know, be able to control everything, all the tech around you with your brain.
So you can have telepathy conversations with Alec Baldwin, like that South Park
I
episode.
Yes.
I already pretty much pay people to do most of the shit I don't like to do. So like, I, I'm already using. I have Human Link. I know I'm not putting some shit in my brain.
I love that
I
response.
don't know, man. What if it gives you superpower? You could be, what do they call it? A technomancer or something. Control technology with your mind.
Yeah, how
The
many
only
how
thing,
many
like,
successful how many successful iterations would it take for you to take it seriously though?
none. There is no way. Give me a use case that makes like I might put it in my dog so I can talk to him. Like that's like he's 3. They live between 8 and 12 years. A French bulldog. I'd love to communicate with him. If you told me I could install a Neuralink in his brain and we could talk, I think that maybe he loses 2-3 years off his life. Shit goes haywire, but I get to talk to him for 3 or 4. That's worth it. Give me. I don't know a compelling reason why I would put it in me.
Imagine those conversations like that you'd have with your dog. Like, imagine how just fascinating they would be too. Oh my god, that'd be
Yes.
amazing.
Food, 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 food. Walk, 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 walk,
Literally,
walk. Click, 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 click,
Legit.
click.
squirrel,
Can you
squirrel,
can you
squirrel.
give can anybody on the panel? I'm being dead. I haven't thought about this. The answer inherently is no. Can anybody on the panel give me? And this will basically kind of highlight like the value of your life in relationship to the importance of doing certain things. So what would make you want to do it? Anybody?
Uh, I can give the bull case, because it seems that we're all talking on the internet. We're not like hanging out in some cafe together. So I think most people will view it as just a further extension of being inside of technology. So instead of you like hunched over with your back, you're texting on some phone, you could just use your brainwaves to text. You could use your brainwaves to communicate with people. That
Jax,
seems to be
I'm asking you personally. So you would install
uh,
it so it could do that?
no, but
Okay, so
I'm giving you the general bull
no, I'm
case.
asking. I actually want to know from the people on the panel, what could it do for you that you would say yes, I'll take the risk?
Um, I have OCD that I've been medicated for probably most of my life. So if it could do things like repair serotonin uh, uptake inhibitors and things like that, cure depression, I think that is like the best use case is more of creating a medical bridge to repair things, to stave off um, like dementia and other advanced
So
stage
if it fixed your
uh,
OCD,
issues.
you would put it in.
Probably, yeah.
I could say another one is, if we all know that for the most part, income is linked to intelligence. and it's not always but it's highly correlated. So if you could increase your intelligence enough that you could do incredible mathematical calculations, you could just become a quant, make $1 million a year. You might not need to join Twitter Spaces. So if it could give you the intellectual capacity in order to like solve much higher level problems, then yeah, I think most people would do it. I'm not saying me personally, but I think most people would.
Oh, that's a good point. Like enhancing your IQ, like it could, if it could boost your IQ in some
I
level.
could see that being a thing at first, but then what if everyone gets the Neuralink? Like everyone has it, and now you have a ton of quants. Now the value of the quant has become less so because there's so much of them. You know, like there's.
Well, you're creating a narrow use case. If everyone becomes hyper intelligent, I think that's just good net positive for
Oh no,
society.
definitely,
I
definitely.
think
I'm just I was
if
using that.
quants go the way of
Yeah.
the
And
dinosaur,
let me be clear there, by the way.
we're not going to feel
I
it.
still wouldn't put it inside myself. I would just hire the person that was stupid enough to do it.
Yeah, I feel like my life would have to be on the line to really, really link my brain to it. I don't know. It would have to be a last case scenario for me because you're right, Visual. That's a
Now it's a
good point.
DPIN. Now let's make it DPIN in Hive intelligence. So all of your thoughts go onto a blockchain, and then no, I'm just
Like no,
kidding.
can I
Not to get
farm? Like
super.
can I farm my brainwaves and put it on the blockchain, and like that data is somehow
Yeah,
valuable?
I'm not using my delta waves, so somebody can just take that.
And then someone hacks my brain through the Neuralink, and now I'm just like they're like quote unquote like slave, like they just own my mind.
That's an interesting thing too. Is like IoT has
Oh,
always become like a threat, right? Sorry, did I rug?
oh, you're fine. No, I thought you got cut off. That's why I was like concerned. But no, please continue.
Oh no, I was just saying like that. That's always a concern with any IoT tech, right? Is that it becomes an entry point for a cyber attack. I'm sure. I'm sure Elon's all over that though.
I'll
I
ask a
don't know.
counter question. How many more years of life would it have to give you for you to put it in?
Oh man, that's a good one.
I hate you, Digital. I hate and love you so much.
10? 20?
I mean,
30?
if it added 20 years to my life,
Yep.
like guaranteed, I'd probably do it.
What if you were
But if
what if you
is
were
it
still in
good
a diaper? Yeah,
years?
exactly.
Wait, if I was still a child?
No, the diaper at the end of the
Oh,
horizon.
no, no. So, I mean, if it added 20 more like good years to my life, and I say good as in like I'm not reliant on anyone and I don't have to, use diapers, I guess. Yeah, no, that sounds great to me.
Well, there we have
Well,
it. Now we know how to price these things.
this is one way to kind of wrap up here, right? Depends what's happening now. We know about the diapers and what it would take.
Depins, everyone.
Yeah,
That's the show.
deep in
We went deep
if you
in.
ever see the NFT project Deep in Diapers, we'll know where it started. All right. In all seriousness, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you, Ben, for coming through to kind of give your first conversation point on Hive Mapper. You are in charge of communications now at Hive Mapper, which is super exciting. As someone personally that knows you for a while, I'm sure you're going to do great things. Obviously, I'll get to stay abreast of that off of this space. This is the last Depends What's Happening Now weekly space here on Wednesdays. It will be changing over to new stuff. You can catch more of what is going on with the Wolf Sports ecosystem and me at Wolf Sports. Make sure you're following Wolf Sports. We are doing a ton of sports, building that out. That's really fun. So make sure to tap in there. We'll be there on later tonight from the Wolf Financial account, actually, with the special guest David Meltzer. So set your reminders there. If you like sports, it's something that continues no matter what, 24/7, 365. It's one of the things I love about it. I'll get to keep my hair when it comes to being exhausted from talking about crypto. But love blockchain technology. It's innovative, especially Depends. Wish everyone a lot of success. There's some good resources out there, and that's my final take here. William, give us some final thoughts and where everyone can make sure to continue to follow what's going on with you.
No, of course, man. First off, I just want to thank Wolf Web 3, really just for hosting all this stuff. Just it's been fantastic, man. It's been a fantastic run. I know like other priorities get in the way and whatnot, and it's I completely understand, dude. So there's no hard feelings there. But if everyone wants to keep up with DPIN still, definitely keep following Wolf Web 3. They're covering every topic in the space. Like, don't ever, like, just like if you just look at all their spaces, honestly, they cover every single topic. I don't know how you guys do it. Honestly, it's kind of wild. Must be like a crazy large team back there. But if you want to keep up with DPIN specifically, or even RWAs, just keep up with my channel. Personally, on my Twitter feed, I'm also with DPIN Daily. We're covering just DPINs, like the channel says, daily. And RWAs and whatnot are still being covered by Wolf Web 3, to my knowledge, on Thursdays with the RWA World Gang. So definitely tune in for those if you're still on the RWA train and the RWA sauce, like all of us are. But yeah, man, I just want to say thank you so much for all this. Fantastic space, guys. I mean, I just love hanging with all the people up here. Michael, Digital, Ben, nice meeting you, man. Jax, too. Thank you guys for coming up and talking. But yeah, just, I guess, Cade, any last words, man?
No, I just want to say thank you for everyone who's spending this time with us today. In this space, it could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with us. So yeah, appreciate it. And also, yeah, for all the speakers on stage, they're all killing it. And yeah, I'm sure you'll be seeing more of Ripe more of Ripe. I just looked at your name. More of Michael and more of William on other
Right,
Wolf Web 3
Mike.
spaces.
That's what we call
Yeah,
him, right, Mike.
Right, Mike. Let's go. You'll be seeing more of Right, Mike, and William on more Wolf spaces. We have a bunch of stuff happening at Wolf, so this is not the end at all. And we'll see what happens in the future, man. So hope you guys have a wonderful day. Digital NFTs, Jax, thank you so much for being here. Have English. I hope everybody has a wonderful day.
Don't forget to install those Neuralinks, guys.
Thank you all.